My Philosophy of Teaching by Annie Rose. So, my philosophies for teaching mirror those of postmodernists, social reconstructionists, or critical theorists and perennialists. Postmodernists believe in interacting with the environment and raising students' consciousness about social inequality. Students these days are multicultural and multiracial, so I believe teaching needs to change to reflect and embrace those differences. And teachers need to encourage all students to embrace others and their cultures and ideas. I believe in critical theorists' ideas, which also focus on exploring differences in racial and ethnic backgrounds. Social reconstructionists say that students should explore their self-identity, and I believe that they can do that through the literature that we're going to cover and be able to learn something about themselves. I believe in exploring works of literature written by people from other countries and cultures to expose students to many other voices and viewpoints, but also to help them gain a better understanding of their own identity. Global education is necessary these days for students to become global citizens who accept others as equals and are educated to speak about global ideas and issues. The perennialists tell us that it is necessary to transmit universal and enduring truths and values. I agree we need to expose students to the great books and literature, but not because they need to enter into discourse with other people, but because they're well written and discuss universal themes. This theory also mirrors idealism, which I also agree with, because I think students need to study and appreciate the great works to create a basis for history and the contributions of great minds. And I also plan on borrowing collaborative and hands-on learning from the pragmatists. I agree that students learn well and stay engaged when they are able to work with others. Um, it's that actually follows along the lines too of Jean Piaget, who was a Swiss psychologist, who believed that children need activity to interact with objects, their environment, and others to help them construct their own environment. Vygotsky, another European psychologist, also believed in the use of objects to keep children engaged and paying attention, as did Piaget. So I definitely plan on using objects in my lessons as much as possible to help the students be able to, connect with what they're learning and how, you know, what they can bring to the table themselves. So I believe in, hands-on activities instead of the rote memorization. We use objects to help students understand complex concepts. It also helps to hold their attention. And I also believe that you should address the No Child Left Behind, which requires all children to learn no exclusion. So I plan on differentiating or customizing my lessons to meet the unique needs of each student by providing instructions for different levels. I'll have students write a story summary on the lower level or writing a character analysis on the upper level. And Vygotsky said that learning or development occurs through interaction with adults and peers or a more knowledgeable other. And so that part of a teacher's job is to apply appropriate challenges and assistance to move students forward in the zone of proximal development. I also believe in using scaffolding. Vygotsky said that scaffolding is a process where teachers use cues and reminders and examples to build understanding to a competent level so students can advance to the next learning level. When I have my students write a paper, I'll break the paper into chunks or steps to make it easier to complete. I'll show an exemplar paper so they understand my expectations and use cues and reminders on how to structure sentences and paragraphs. I also plan on using Howard Gardner's theories on the 8 multiple intelligences. For example, I'll appeal to children who learn linguistically by have them use their words to discuss and debate the themes we find in literature. For a spatial learner, for instance, I would use images and pictures to illustrate the meanings behind the symbols found in literature. I'm also a huge advocate of musical intelligence, the use of melodies, songs, and rhythm. I'll have students make up a rap, for instance, about important details of a story. I'll encourage interpersonal thinking between students by having them work in groups and brainstorm together. Howard Gardner said that all children have the ability to learn through all of the 8 intelligence, so I definitely believe I need to change up the way I teach to appeal to all different learners. I want to help my students reach their full potential regardless of their stage of development, their socioeconomic background, or their level of intelligence. I'll embrace diversity and use cultural tools as Vygotsky suggests. Create a sense of harmony and community amongst my students. I want them to share their culture, their language, their food, and their traditions, so that everyone is seen as a valued member of society with something to contribute. My challenge is to find the right method to bring out that talent or contribution. Through this acceptance and tolerance of others, I hope to inspire my students to become the best citizens they can and to help their fellow man or woman. Thank you.